Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley, along with Tim Fitzgerald. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Had a good weekend, Fitz, and, coming out of the weekend, we got some news as far as college athletics. There's usually something going on, and there is something new that's going on. To me, I think it's a bunch of nonsense, but it's definitely something that's worth being talked about, that's being thrown around. And that's what we're going to discuss here today, people. Power conferences are coming together, trying to put together, I don't know if you want to call it, Fitz, it's not a law or a rule, but a document per se. They're wanting to come up with some sort of document that all the power schools or power conferences, essentially power schools as well. Everybody has to sign this thing. They're wanting to put this in place so they can't basically attack the committee, the college football, the new committee that's being, or the college sports committee. Although it's technically football, it's the college sports committee. So they're wanting to put all this in place. Look, the premise of it is fine, but we'll get into that. But before we do, everybody, remember, like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments section as always, and definitely hit that notification bell so you know when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. But Fitz, I don't know. Look, I understand what's going on here. I understand that we're trying to find ways to make rules. Look, the Wild Wild West is going on. We've got to do something. It can't just continue the status quo. That isn't going to work. We're headed for a disaster. Having said that, in my humble opinion, this document could very well be one of the most, one of the most ridiculous documents that will mean absolutely nothing that you have a bunch of universities sign. It will mean absolutely nothing, Tim Fitzgerald. That's just my opinion. I'd like to know yours.
Well, this is based on reporting by Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, who late yesterday afternoon, Monday, came out with this story about the power conferences have started circulating a document to some of their members, and it's intended for all of their members, basically saying you're going to follow our rules or you won't be part of this conference anymore. And our rules will override state rules, state laws. This grows out of, in part, but mostly, Tennessee quietly passed a law that says they're not bound by the House versus NCAA settlement. They can do whatever they damn well please. Now, first, Tennessee, come on, man. I mean, it's literally like the Tennessee state legislature is attempting to completely destroy college athletics.
Correct.
Because I know you're trying to give your team an advantage, whether it's Tennessee or Memphis or anyone else. You're trying to get that foot up on everyone else because you're Tennessee. And if you have to cheat, you will. But let's pass a law that doesn't make it cheating. So, first of all, Tennessee, just play along, for God's sakes. Quit trying to make this worse. But this document being circulated strikes me as something dreamed up by a university president that is thinking he's a lot smarter than he is. Yeah. Obviously didn't go to law school. Obviously doesn't know that this is the most feckless, worthless piece of paper you could possibly sign and circulate. But I'm going to say this. It's basically an outgrowth of this frustration that so many fans have.
Yeah.
That says, why can't we govern ourselves in a manner in which we want to? Well, the courts have ruled that's fine, but the student athletes have to have a say. You basically have to get to some kind of collective bargaining, and that gets the government involved for any of this to settle down. So while this is a noble yet stupid gesture, it's totally virtual signaling to the fan bases. We're trying, It's going to take one lawyer in a Memphis or Nashville law office to file one injunction, and it will get upheld, and that this document will be shattered as an antitrust violation. It's not even going to take much effort to get rid of it. It's going to take a lot more effort to get it signed. The fans want something done. You're trying to do something, but this ain't it. We just go work with the government and figure this out because that's the only solution there is.
Yep. It just screams elitism at its finest, in my opinion. It just screams that people are just, we're above the law. I know this is what the law says, but nope, we don't have to abide by the law. We're just going to do whatever it is that we want. And oh, by the way, you're going to do it. And if you don't, we're going to kick you out. And we were talking off air. I'm like, so let me get this straight. If I don't agree with what's on this document, and I'm like, you know what, we're just going to follow what the law says. You're telling me, no, I'm not. And if I don't, you're going to kick me out of the conference and I'm not going to be involved. I would almost, if I'm a university president, AD, board of a school that's like, no, I don't want to sign this. This doesn't make any sense. I would welcome for them to kick me out. I would want for you to kick me out, because then the lawsuit that you told me I can't file, I'm going to file it. And then for the next 10 years, for the next decade, I'm going to take half of the profits that conference gets. That's going to be my settlement. I'm not settling because they're going to win. They're going to win that lawsuit. And my settlement would be, hey, whatever, if I'm in the SEC, you wanted to kick me out. Yeah, you guys are getting, I don't know, $700 million a year. Yeah, 350 of that's coming to me for the next decade. And I don't care what you say. And that's my settlement. Otherwise, I'll just take it all. We'll go to court and I'll win it all. I go, because you can't, I just don't understand what the play is. Again, I get the premise. I know what they're trying to do. I really do, because it is crazy. It is the wild, wild west. But look, we blame the NCAA for a lot of this mess, and it is their fault. But we're lying to ourselves if we say that ADs, presidents, universities, that they didn't have a hand in this too, because they absolutely did. And it's more of the schools on the higher end of all of this that are saying, well, we have more money than everybody else, and so it won't affect us like it affects everybody else. So we don't really care. That's kind of been the SEC's stance on this. The Big 12, or not the Big 12, the Big 10's stance on this. Hey, we got more money. Doesn't really affect us. Well, now you're trying to push people out, and it's like, well, you're not going to push me out. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not signing this. Like, you know who I really hope does this, Fitz? A Northwestern. I hope Northwestern just says, you know what? This makes absolutely no sense, and we're not doing it. We're not signing it, and I dare you to kick us out. Because Northwestern is one of those schools, Fitz, that when you talk about going to the super conference, Northwestern is one of those schools that everybody talks about getting pushed out of the Big Ten. You know, it's one of those, hey, you know what? Yeah, they're great for academics, and it's great because it's a Chicago market, but we can survive. We'll just push them out the door. So I don't think they're going to take this lightly. And like I said, I hope they're one of the schools that fights back and says, absolutely not. And I dare you to kick us out. Matter of fact, we want you to kick us out. Just send us one letter, and then we'll see what happens. I'm welcoming at this point. This is crazy.
It's insanity. Look, again, noble effort, horrible execution. So let me get this right. The teeth of this proposed agreement is we will remove you from a conference. Let's try to visit the world in which, or the dimension in which, the Southeastern Conference kicks out the University of Tennessee. Now, if you're a person who believes in the multiverse like I do, that there are many dimensions with different directions, none of them include kicking Tennessee out of the SEC. No. There's no form of reality in the universe in which Tennessee won't be a member of the SEC.
No.
So from the very start, it's a, come on, man, what are you doing here? You just want to take whoever proposes, whatever university president or AD proposes, and take them under your arm and go, come on, McFly. What are you doing, McFly? Because this doesn't work, Big B.
No.
They got to get to something that works. And the only way to do it is through Congress. Get an antitrust exemption. Boom, this might work. But you're going to have to get to collective bargaining. You're going to have to face this, college athletics. These student athletes need to be unionized so they can bargain on behalf of all of their members.
Yeah.
That's the obstacle you refuse to admit is in your way, and it's in your way. You got to clear that up. Just let's get moving forward with the things that actually fix college athletics. And if you can get an antitrust exemption, I'm all for this. But I still don't know if you can overrule a state law. But again, I come back to this. Screw you, Tennessee. We're trying to solve things here, and you're trying to further blow it up. Stick to music and drinking beer. Come on, guys. I don't even like your form of country music. You screwed that up. Now you're going for college athletics.
Yeah, it's just wild. You know, the quote from of course, an unnamed AD is that, yo, yeah, you'll sign it or we won't play you. Like, that's the threat, is that they're not going to play him. I'm like, that's what we're doing. It's almost like you're on the playground as a second grader. Well, if you don't do what I say, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm like, oh my God, this is where we've come with college athletics, people. I mean, this is where it's just broken us down to this, to literally just just tattletaling. I'm going to do to you if you don't do what I want. Wham. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's weird in a sense, Fitz, that they can't just say, you know what, this is where we are. Everything evolves. And I think that's part of the problem, is that there's so many people that want to hold on to the past and believe that the past is the only way to do things. Everything has evolved. Just think about this. If you got an iPhone 5 years ago, you're not going to use the technology. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, my wife's got a phone that's 100 years old because she just refuses to get another one. I said, but the phones that they make now compared to 5 years ago are so much better technically. It's not even funny. And so everything evolves, everything. And college athletics is something that evolves too. The NCAA fought it for so long. And they got behind the curve because they could have been out in front of this, but they thought they were going to win. They thought they were right, and they weren't. They were never right. We just did it that way. Well, once people started fighting back, well, they didn't have a leg to stand on, and they knew it. Okay. Well, then the college athletic directors and the presidents, it's the same thing. And now they're trying to get out in front of this with something that is absolutely not going to work. Not only is it not going to work, it just doesn't even make sense.
No.
Like, did one lawyer look at this? That would be my question. Like, did one lawyer, not 5, 10, 15, did one of them look at it and say, hey, guys, you can't go against the state law? That should have been the end of the conversation. And that would have been the end of it. So it's almost like a lawyer didn't even look at this thing. Or if they did, they were like, yeah, this isn't going to work. But if you want to do it, go right ahead. We'll bill you. We'll put this thing together and we'll bill you, but it ain't going anywhere. So
that's $200 an hour.
Yes.
I thought about this for 3 days.
I just don't understand. And again, you're right, Fitz. You're 100% right. It actually does come from a good place of people wanting to try to fix this thing. But to put this out there in the public is pretty stupid. I just flat out, it's just stupid. Well, and it's not this is a SEC. Tennessee started the nonsense, but it's not SEC. This is all of them. This is all Power Four getting together and somehow thinking this is a good idea. At some point, the Big 12, I understand their position on this, Fitz. They can't be the conference that stands up and says, yeah, this isn't going to work. They can't be that conference because then you get squeezed and you're not in a position of power right now. You know, if it was the Big Ten that came out and said, hey, this isn't going to work, okay, fine. But the Big 12 isn't in a position of power to be able to do that. So when you're not in a position of power, it's hard for you. It's like the board meeting. You might have the right answer, but you're 17th on the totem pole. It's tough for people to listen to you. The Big 12 is so far down that line, Fitz. It's like, yeah, you might be right, but we're not going to listen to you. We're going to do it our way first, and maybe we'll get around to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You bring up a couple interesting points. One is I suspect that this document was leaked to Yahoo Sports by an AD or president who knows. This is stupid. Let's put it out there in public so everyone can tell everyone this is stupid and try to defeat it that way. But to your point about the Big 12, if you're the Big 12 and the ACC, you get together as a group and say, we're all voting yes. We know this won't hold up in court, but we are not going to be the obstacle. Yeah. We're going to win the optics of this. We're in. How about you guys?
Yep.
And then watch the Big Ten and SEC show their cards. Tennessee will absolutely not be in. Other schools won't be in. And hell, there's probably schools in the ACC and Big 12 that don't want to sign this. But I'm telling you, the optics of these two conferences saying, we'll do it.
Yep.
Makes it awfully difficult for the Big Ten and SEC not to do it, or that will show their cards that they don't want to save college sports. They want to profit.
Correct.
So I would encourage the Big 12 ADs and the ACC ADs, sign this thing immediately. You can know it's stupid. It's okay because it's going to get shot down. You're not planning to challenge if someone wants to get an injunction. You might send a lawyer to argue it against it, but you know it's going to get shot down. But don't have it fail because of you, because then when it eventually all falls apart, they can blame you.
That's right.
And that's why you're not part of the big picture anymore. You didn't play along with our plans, and that's the reason we're leaving you out of the super conference.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, you couldn't have said it any better, Fitz. You got to play along, even though you know it's incredibly ignorant. Just, hey, fine. You came up with this, great. Okay, we'll sign it. We'll play along. And then in the back channels, the Big 12 and the ACC are talking to each other, and they're like, I can't believe how stupid these people are. I mean, we'll go along with them. This isn't going to go anywhere. This is absolutely insane, but whatever. If this is the route they want to go, we'll play right along. And again, they have to do that until the dynamics change, until you get a better footing.
And this can help.
You just, unfortunately, you kind of have to be that step and fetch guy. You do. And we don't have to like it as a conference, but that's just kind of where we are. And we'll get into this at a different time. I'm not sure what the Big 12 does right now to even get out of that. I'm not sure where they go as far as, and when I talk about get out of it, just kind of changing tunes just for a quick second, is how they get a more power play. Yeah. It's going to be a while before something like that happens.
No, exactly.
Yeah. They can't just, they could win the national championship in football the next 3 years. That's great. Still not going to change the foothold. It's just not. And that would be unfortunate because that's what the SEC and the Big Ten have stood on for so long, is that they win these national championships. But that wouldn't change. It's going to take longer than that to get a bigger foothold, which, again, it could stink, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
The reality is Texas Tech can spend all the money it wants to be at the highest level of spending in college athletics. That's good for the Big 12, by the way. I'm not faulting them at all. But the reality is the names Buckeyes, Crimson Tide, Wolverines, Volunteers, and even the Georgia Bulldogs, which is not a very unique name, by the way, Georgia. The Red Raiders will never be in that mix.
Mm-mm.
They just won't.
Longhorns, Sooners.
Yeah, it just takes a long time. Well, you're never going to catch up to the Blue Bloods. I've established it. That's just, those are set. but even to build your brand to that level is going to take years. Is the Big 12 in a position to do that eventually? Maybe. But the reality is, until you have your own TV deal that gives you separate platforms where you're not in the shadows of the other two conferences or the other three conferences, because the ACC is also on ESPN, until you have your own platforms in which to stand, in which you can now, with the new Nielsen ratings, which we've discussed, maybe will give you better ratings because your markets now will be properly represented. Once you start showing the numbers are closing, that is reality.
Mm-hmm.
TV ratings, if they're equally paired, like you can't put a game on ESPN and then brag that you beat the game on ESPN2. We all know different platforms carry better optics. More people are going to see it. But the Big 12, simply put, Big B, has to start finding a way to find more viewers. And I would say that isn't going to come through advertising of we've always been more than 12. It comes through branding yourself as the fun conference to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Big 12, nothing beats it. You just go for it and hope eventually that marketing takes hold. Marketing can work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work miracles.
No.
It won't ever make a new shoe company Nike. They can make them Adidas. You can get there. Big 12's got to set some realistic goals for the short-term future, improving its ratings and visibility and marketing, and take it one step at a time until they get to that new contract.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot else, Fitz, today. I wanted to get this out and talk about this.
Yep.
I just thought it was crazy that, you dig in the first, you see the headline, and the headline does exactly what it thinks. It's like, man, NIL is going to come up. They're going to come up with some rules here. Oh, no, actually, they're not. Oh, actually, it's that they're wanting to go against what? State laws? They're going to override state laws? Oh, they think they can do that. Oh, and if you don't sign, they're going to kick you out of the conference? Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see this play out. It's almost, to me, at this point, I'm almost at a please do it. Please. I want to see this play out and see exactly what happens.
We'll get free shows out of this. Yeah, hell yeah, do this. Get a lawsuit.
Yes, please do this. Please do it, and let's see exactly what happens. Because I'm telling you, man, it's look. I'm not a lawyer, people. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I don't act like I'm a lawyer. I'm not even very good at certain laws. I know the laws on certain things that I actually care about and pay attention to. This is one of those. You're not signing a document that's overriding state laws that and then kicking out teams. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So, again, I applaud what you said tremendously, Fitz. This got leaked by an AD and a president from a school that was like, what in the hell are these idiots doing? That I feel like that was the conversation. A president called an athletic director and said, what in the hell are these idiots doing? We got to leak this out. Let's leak this out. These people are nuts.
Yep.
They are nuts. And they get it. I get, like I said, they're trying to help, but this is just not the way. It's just not the way, Fitz. So.
No, it's comedy. It's they're trying. Fans are trying. But the reality is, I saw a guy hold up a sign, get rid of the NIL. They're not choosing any of this.
No.
They have found themselves forced to do all of this by the courts. So quit trying to do things that will be ended and disrupt things because of the courts.
Yeah.
Just get a solution through Congress. You've got to push it. You've got to go for it. And I would say the governors at some point need to get together and say, we don't want our college athletics destroyed, and we don't want them turned into professional football. We just can't. But maybe enough governors in the Southeast or, the Big Ten footprint are like, yeah, screw it. Let's have Alabama. Let's do it. Let's have professional football. Come on. That's not what any of us want. None of us.
No, nobody wants
most
that.
of us.
Yeah, most of us don't want that. So, well, I appreciate everybody. Thank you again, always, for watching. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, continue to hit that notification bell. Until then, we will be back with you tomorrow. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.